Imagine this for a second. You're tracking drug safety, and you spot a potential risk. A subtle one. Not, after 20 official reports pile up, but maybe hours or even days sooner. You see it almost like your spell check catches a typo, effortlessly. Because an algorithm has already flagged something unusual. That shift, going from just reacting to reports to actually predicting potential issues, that's really the core story here. It's how artificial intelligence, AI, is completely shaking up pharmacovigilance. PV. I mean, traditionally, drug safety work was this huge manual slog, right? People staring at mountains of data. It was slow. It was always looking backwards. So today, we're giving you the inside track, a short tip, really, to understanding how AI is turning PV into something proactive, something preventative almost. If you need to get up to speed on where intelligent drug safety is heading, well, this is your deep dive. Welcome to DDReg Knowledge Capsule.
Yeah, that historical picture is so important. It really shows why this change is happening, why it's needed. Pharmacovigilance signal detection. It's always been about finding those potential safety issues, digging through all sorts of data reports, health records, medical articles. But the old ways, they were very statistical, based on simple counts from case reports, ICSRs, and those periodic safety update reports. It was slow. Things could get missed. And honestly, by the time you had enough reports for the stats to show something, well, the risk was already out there, affecting people.
So we were always playing catch up, basically. And the sheer amount of data now, it's overwhelming. Global reports, social media even, just relying on people reading everything. It doesn't scale. It's almost irresponsible now.
Exactly. It's just not feasible. And that's where AI comes in. It cuts through that data overload, it automates the processing, handles the speed, which means you can get closer to real-time detection of anything unusual, anomalies. It helps pinpoint risks much more precisely across, billions of data points. It fundamentally changes the job. Safety teams become less like historians of risk and more like proactive risk managers.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics then. How does the tech actually do that? For listeners who like the technical details, what are the key AI tools making this happen?
Well, it's really a set of specialized AI tools working together. First up, you've got natural language processing (NLP). A huge chunk of PV data is just .text, unstructured text. Think doctor's notes, case narratives, research papers. NLP is the tech that can read and make sense of all that unstructured stuff. It pulls out the important bits, like potential links between a drug and an event, things that would take a person ages to find manually. So it massively speeds up that initial sorting and checking of potential signals.
Right, so NLP structures the messy text data, then you need to analyze it, yeah? That's where machine learning, or ML, steps in.
That's exactly right. ML is brilliant at finding subtle patterns or spotting rare events. It learns from huge amounts of historical data. This helps make predictions more accurate, and really importantly, it cuts down on the false alarms, the false positives that can waste a lot of time with simpler statistical methods. ML helps figure out the why behind past events.
Okay, so ML looks back to learn, but PV needs to look forward too, right, to anticipate risk. That seems like a different job.
It is, yeah. That's where predictive analytics comes into its own. This goes beyond just classifying what happened before. It digs into really complex individual data, things like patient history, other meds they're taking, maybe even genetic info. The goal is early risk monitoring, trying to anticipate the risk for specific kinds of patients going forward. It's much more contextual.
Okay, NLP reads, ML learns from the past, predictive analytics looks ahead, but you've got all these insights coming from different places. How do you tie it all together? How do you avoid just creating like a giant messy data pile? Is there a controller?
Good question. That coordination job often falls to knowledge graphs. Think of them as creating a map. They link everything together: drugs, adverse events, patient groups, research findings. They build this interconnected network. This really helps with understanding the context and tracing potential causes, makes complex relationships visible. And we absolutely have to remember the statistical foundation. It's still crucial. We use sophisticated tools like Bayesian models. They help calculate something called disproportionality score.
Fine, let's break that down. Disproportionality score. What's that in simple terms?
It's basically a statistical measure. It helps us figure out if an adverse event reported with a drug is happening more often than you'd expect just by chance. Is it likely linked to the drug, or could it be random? These models, like one called EBGM, give us a score for that likelihood. It adds statistical weight to the signal. So AI doesn't replace the science. It helps us apply that science faster and across way more data.
That makes sense. It's a powerful toolkit. So let's shift to the impact on the ground. How does this change the actual day-to-day work for PV teams? This isn't just theory, right? It's having real effects.
Oh, absolutely. It's changing workflows significantly. There are probably 6 main impacts. First, and maybe the most obvious, is higher operational efficiency. We're not just saving a few minutes here and there. It's about automating a lot of the routine stuff, like basic data entry, initial sorting of cases, especially the less serious ones. This frees up the experienced PV professionals, the doctors, to focus their brainpower on the really complex cases, the ones needing deep clinical judgment.
Right. Moving people from data entry to actual analysis. That's a huge shift in how resources are used.
Huge. Second, it enables true real-time monitoring, or much closer to it. AI can continuously scan data streams, looking for those subtle anomalies, those emerging risks. That's how you shift from just filing reports about past events to actually predicting and potentially preventing future ones.
Third is intelligent case prioritization. This is key. AI can help dynamically sort incoming cases based on how severe or serious they might be, how valid the report looks. So, the potentially critical cases, they get flagged and jump to the front of the queue. This speeds up response times for the most important issues and cuts down on chasing dead ends or false leads.
That speed must be critical, especially with reports coming in from all over the world. It really is. Fourth benefit, enhanced signal analysis. AI can chew through diverse data sets incredibly quickly. It integrates everything: clinical trial data, real-world reports, literature, patient registries. This allows for identifying safety patterns and trends with much greater depth and accuracy than before. Fifth, there's a big improvement in regulatory compliance. Automated systems help ensure reports are complete, correctly formatted, and submitted on time. They help align everything with global standards like ICH guidelines or specific regional rules. This improves data quality across the board and, critically, makes organizations much more prepared for audits.
And the final piece, dealing with all that global paperwork, getting submissions right everywhere.
Exactly. That leads to the sixth point. Streamlined submissions. Automation can handle a lot of the validation checks, the formatting requirements, the quality reviews for safety data. This makes submitting accurate reports to regulators in different countries much smoother and faster, reduces a huge administrative headache.
Okay, it sounds incredibly promising, almost too good to be true sometimes. But big tech shifts always have friction points, don't they? Let's get real for a moment. What are the biggest hurdles, the main challenges PV teams are hitting when trying to actually use this AI?
Yeah, that's the crucial part, bridging the gap between potential and practice. Trust is a big factor, and the tech is only as good as what you feed it. So, number one limitation, data quality. If those initial reports, the ICSRs, are incomplete or inconsistent, well, the AI can't magically fix bad data. It's the classic garbage in, garbage out problem. Poor input data really undermines the accuracy of the AI models.
And that immediately brings up questions about trust, especially from regulators, right? If the input is shaky.
It does, which leads to the second major challenge, model transparency. Some of the most powerful AI models can be quite complex, sort of like black boxes. It's hard to see exactly how they reached a conclusion. For regulators, that's a big concern. They need to understand the reasoning. Traceability is key. If you can't clearly explain why the AI flagged a particular signal, it's hard to accept it as solid evidence.
But wait, if we demand total transparency, total explainability for every single model, doesn't that push us towards using maybe simpler, less powerful AI? Is there a trade-off happening there?
That's the heart of the debate right now, both technically and ethically. It's a real balancing act. There's a lot of work going into developing more explainable AI or glass box models, models that are powerful and transparent. But it's an ongoing challenge. And then there's a third practical hurdle, integration complexity. Think about it. Most big pharma companies have existing PV systems, databases, workflows. Some are pretty old. Trying to plug these new advanced AI tools into that existing infrastructure, it's complicated. It takes significant time, effort, and investment.
Right. So despite all this amazing automation potential, the human element remains absolutely critical. The AI is a tool for the experts, not a replacement.
Couldn't agree more. It absolutely augments human intelligence. It doesn't replace it. Continuous human oversight is completely non-negotiable. You need those experienced safety physicians, the PV specialists, to look at the AI's output, to provide the clinical context, validate if it actually makes sense, interpret it for regulatory purposes. The human judgment ensures the findings are credible and used ethically.
So how are the big global regulators reacting? The EMA in Europe, the FDA in the US, are they embracing this? Or are they more cautious because of those transparency and data issues?
They're generally encouraging, but with very clear conditions. Cautiously optimistic, perhaps. The consistent message globally is AI used in pharmacovigilance must be explainable, traceable, and compliant. That's a bedrock for building trust in these automated systems. If you look at the European Medicines Agency, the EMA, they put out a draft reflection paper in 2023. It specifically encourages using AI responsibly for safety monitoring after a drug is on the market.
Right.
And their existing guidance, GVP Module IX, talks about how to integrate AI under proper governance structures.
And what about the FDA? Similar stance.
Yes, broadly similar principles. The FDA has initiatives like the Emerging Drug Safety Technology Program, or EDSTT. They're actively supporting the responsible adoption of AI. But they really stress the need for transparency and auditability. They want to see the workings. So both major regulators are pushing for innovation, but they demand robust human oversight and clear documentation for any safety signal flagged by AI.
Okay, looking further out now, beyond just making current processes faster or more efficient,
Yeah.
where is this tech ultimately taking pharmacovigilance? What's the next frontier?
I think the future is definitely more proactive and much more integrated. We're likely moving towards deeper integration with electronic health records, EHRs, maybe data from patient wearables, digital health apps. Imagine getting near real-time safety data directly from how patients are doing in the real world. Also, we'll probably see more use of generative AI. Think tools like ChatGPT, but specialized for PV. Not just for analysis, but for actually drafting things, like initial safety report narratives or parts of risk management plans, automating some of that intensive writing work. But perhaps the most futuristic-sounding development, but potentially transformative for risk management, is digital twins. This idea involves creating sophisticated computer models, virtual replicas of specific patient groups. You can then simulate how a drug might affect that virtual population, test different risk scenarios, potentially identifying issues before large numbers of real patients are exposed.
Wow. So the takeaway seems to be that the future of PV isn't just AI alone or regulators alone. It's this tight integration, this synergy between the AI innovation and smart, adaptive regulatory oversight. Which really brings us full circle, doesn't it? We started by talking about that shift from reactive review to predictive intelligence. This whole deep dive has unpacked how AI is making that possible, enabling scalable, proactive, and compliant safety systems. It empowers safety teams to really focus on protecting patients while also meeting those crucial regulatory demands. And the actionable insight for you, the listener, seems pretty clear. Companies that are seriously investing in building these AI-driven PV capabilities now, they're not just keeping up, they're likely positioning themselves to lead the way in intelligent drug safety in the years ahead.
Exactly. And that leads to maybe one final thought for you to chew on. If we get really good at using these digital twins to simulate drug safety in virtual populations, how might that fundamentally change our approach to drug development itself? Could it alter the ethics or the speed of testing? Maybe even before we start large clinical trials. It's worth exploring that concept of digital twins in the pharma world a bit more. It's fascinating.
Definitely something to think about. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We really appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you next time.